Hello and welcome to the session 5 of Delicious Dredge. So I'm Mr. Max Boivin and I'm joined by Zonalar is going to be the Game Master, Nicholas is going to be really Rat Bastard, Captain Conway. Oh, can you change your name by the way to the name of the character? Chicken
Of course.
Bones. And Yakrep or Calvin that's going to play Omelette. Zonalar, take the lead.
All right, let's hop into the game. The Lich, Nadib the Undying, has been defeated, and his minions are scattered across the realms. A generation later, we follow the story of the surviving tribes that once followed the High Master, now left to fend for themselves in a world where order and civilization does not welcome them. The party has made the way back to the woods, hired a couple of hunters among the orcs to join them, disappointed with how many decided to eat corn pop on this glorious hunt. At his outpost near the forest, during the night, Red Bastard was confronted about the slaying of an orc child, during which, shortly after, Red Bastard was ambushed by three men. Red Bastard, struck by thorny twigs of a shambling bush, with another one coming closer. Hadron, the orc, heard the scream and got onto his feet, the screech echoing through the camp.
I'm awakened by the noise. Sit on my little cot, shake my head a bit, swearing, look at Omelette lying down on my feet.
I freeze and I'm motionless, and I look from side to side, tracing from Rat Bastard to this bush, and then I kind of scan the area to see what is going on around me.
Chicken Bones.
Chicken Bones gets up, lifting his bedroll with him as he does. He looks one side to the other, his ears twitching as he looks for the source of the noise. He quickly gets up, looks to his armor, not enough time to put it. He just pulls out his weapon and shouts out, "What's happening?"
I'm flung in the air, way over past the tent. Dump on the floor. I start dragging myself. I'm bleeding from my shoulder.
Bushes, two of them, moving, shambling towards Red Bastard. All the size of humanoids. They look like people, but completely made out of branches and leaves, and especially thorns all over their branches, closing in. Corn.
I get up from the cot. I grab my belt with my swords on them, fasten them to my waist. Grab my bow and quiver, sling the quiver over my shoulder.
Omelette.
I scramble out of the tent, on all fours towards these humanoid bushes, and seeing that they're moving towards Rat Bastard, I hold out my claw and I conjure a flame and hurl it at the one closest to me. It's 14.
A 14 hits.
6. Fire.
That is a death blow. The bush catching fire. It stretches around. It runs back into the forest. An eerie screech coming from it, like the rustling of leaves, like the timber itself is quivering as it lights up like a torch, disappearing into the night. And then falls over. Chicken bones.
Not quite understanding what is happening. He's still half asleep. Chicken Bones clutches his warhammer with one hand and his holy symbol with the other. He charges forth after the burning bush. There's something in the bushes. I will attempt to strike it. Catching his foot, he is not able to follow it.
Red bastard.
Now he's standing up, holding my shoulder, a lot of blood dripping.
Ah, evil bushes, elf magics.
Then I'm looking around, trying to see if there's anything else in the dark. Beady eyes, yellow eyes in the dark.
The second bush is right up your face, ready to strike.
I quickly lunge myself to the side in a rolling motion. Managed to leap a good 2 meters away in one hop.
The bundle of twigs striking towards you. Missing. Its roots digging slightly into the earth. Unfurling it and moving towards you. Readying for another claw attack in your direction. With 12 on Red Bastard, does that hit?
Red Bastard manages to lay on the floor. I flip to the side. The claw hits the ground next to my face, piercing the dirt. My ear twitches just outside of its piercing strike.
Yeah.
Hadron runs up at this point, grunting out and pulling a small hand axe from his side, almost completely naked, chopping into the twig blade. One good strike, tearing the twigs in twain as it falls apart and stops moving. Corn pop.
I casually step out of the hut with my bow in hand, and I look around, seeing what's taking in the situation, looking at the bush walking, and some of them being on fire. And I draw one of the arrow that with the sticky substance that Omelette put on it, and I rest it on my bow and I call Omelette.
I look over to Corn Pop with my hand ready, scanning the horizon, but then I snap back to look at Corn Pop.
Light me up.
Good.
I make my way over to Corn Pop and hold the flame at the tip of the arrow and ignite the little piece of burlap that's tied on there.
Not quite perfectly understanding the situation, Chicken Bones turns around, returning to the rest of the group, sticking close to them. What is happening? What's attacking us?
I'm standing from the ground, clearly hurt.
Something attacked us in the dark. Evil bushes.
I'm touching my hand and looking at it, panting.
I look
The
around.
rustling of leaves can be heard as shadowy creatures approach. The same sounds of twigs creaking and aching under each step coming, walking into the camp light, slower than a normal human.
I draw my bow, taking aim at one of the bushmen, living bush kind of thing. And then I say, forest fucking attacking us. I'm gonna fucking burn it down. And then I shift my aim around toward like some just dry bush on the ground, dry on the ground, and I loose the flaming arrow into it.
The bush catches fire. The impact itself exploding into flames. As it, two of the bushmen stumble backwards, afraid of walking through. Omelette.
I scan and in all directions, looking for the enemies as they approach, and I identify the one that's closest or seems to be approaching the fastest, and I conjure another flame to hurl at it, saying Agni in Druidic. 18.
A strike.
5.
A death blow. Another bush catching fire, burning alive, if you can call it that, falling over, turning into its own campfire.
Seeing the burning fire, Chicken Bones will be quick. From close to Kaharn, he will rush forward, grabbing his pack and his bedroll and everything he can, dragging it all out with him, getting back close to the rest of the group. We're surrounded, be careful.
I start lumping quickly to be behind Carnes.
Ah, there's more.
Hadron readies his axe and follows after the goblin. Standing behind him, himself turned towards the outside of one of the Twig Blights approaching, ready to strike as it comes into range, exchanging blows back and forth, taking another Twig Blight apart. The other two bushes walk and shamble past the burning fire Corn Pop has created, finding the way towards the campfire, towards Omelette. Reaching you. Corn Pop.
I drop my bow and I pull my two sword and I rush toward the living bush that is walking toward me to go and strike him. Oh, sorry. I got like technical issue.
Okay. Do you
First,
hit?
bolt my sword, swing wildly. I still like having didn't shake the sleep away properly, so both miss for some reason.
Omelette.
With the creature right next to me, I conjure the flame in my hand and just hold it out in front of me to try to ward it off and try to scare it away. You're muted.
Roll on intimidation.
That's a 1.
The bush does not react to your spell. Chicken bones.
Seeing the hunt's chief run towards the bush, Chicken Bones will follow. Now with the warhammer and shield, kicking his things down to the ground, hoping that he can return to them later, he rushes forth and swings. A hit.
Roll for damage.
Raising his warhammer high and then lowering it, smashing through twigs, he swings a mighty downwards blow.
With that, only one bush is standing among the group. Red Bastard.
I from previously where behind Carnes, I pick one of my daggers with my good arm and hurl it towards the twig monster in front of Omelette, since it's engaged with it. Dealing 10 damage.
A death blow. The knife itself striking the bush between into a green mote emanating from a warts of its bark.
I fall to
The
the
green
ground.
glow itself breaking apart and dissipating like a firefly falling over.
Is it over
Point
now?
up.
I raise the flame that I have in my hand up high and try to cast light out towards our surroundings to see if I can see any more of these creatures approaching.
Able to see better, Chicken Bones turns to each individual tree, stopping for a second on each to look at them.
Eerie shadows cast by the trees, flickering by the flaming lights, but unmoving. The rustling of the trees. Just the wind itself gently breezing through the camp.
I kneel
I
down
look at
next
one of
to
the
the
creature down at my feet and poke it with my boot. And I point with one of my sword at the flame spreading around the camp. I say, "You might want not to stay here long."
I kneel down next to the little twig creature that Corn just kicked, and then bring the flame in close and kind of try to ascertain what this creature is.
A nature check.
16.
On closer inspection, a torso can be identified. Bark grown in the shape of a head. Small motes, glowing green, where eyes should be, but completely made out of wood. Easily mistaken just for some underbrush, yet these have animated. They are known as Twig Blights, an answer of nature to protect whatever commands them, a spirit or a master.
I start skittering on fours now, somehow lumping with my left arm, approaching the dead twig, and I'm trying to
Where's my dagger?
breathing in heavily.
I pull the dagger out of its corpse and hand it over to Rat, and then I say out loud to the group, "These are guardians of nature."
The flickering campfire from the fire mote itself of one of the twig blights starts spreading over that leaf flooring, expanding in about a 7-foot radius.
So, well, there won't be much nature left around here soon. And I head toward inside the hut and grab my wineskin.
They have failed their job. My character will return to his things and make sure to wear armor the rest of the night. Help me here,
Nice.
rat bastard. I'm trying to pull this thing on as he tries to get his chainmail over his head.
I put one foot on top of the twig, grabbing the hilt of my dagger. Finally, yank it. I fall backwards once again on the ground.
You do you.
Standing up,
Adrian returns to his great axe on the log and picks it up. This forest is cursed. Corn, what is the meaning of this? I figured you live here.
I step out of my hut with my wineskin, like, strap around my shoulder. I say, "Cover your junk, we're moving. This forest is gonna be gone soon." I look like pointing with my head at the fire spreading around. I point
Nods.
toward the west and I say, There's a stream in that direction the fire one crossed over. Let's move. And I start walking westward.
Before I move away from the little twig blight, I find a handful of the thorns, carefully break them off, and I put a few in my component pouch.
Chicken Bones grabs his things off the floor, now fully armored, his armor clinking heavily as he walks through. Right behind Karn, his things tossed over his shoulder with a sack. Let's go.
A distant
Reluctantly,
thunder,
I follow.
a distant thunder can be heard rolling through the area as clouds peak over the horizon and grow bigger.
That's just what we need now. Some fucking rain on top of it all. Turn back toward Greenhorn. And say, I think you're right. This place might be fucking cursed.
He curses out. If we had a shaman with us, he could move the winds in our favor.
Just shake my head and I start walking a little faster.
I'm falling behind Karn, and I'm thinking about the creatures. I say, Master Karn, I saw a vision yesterday about those creatures. I didn't think much of it.
I slow down. It's a vision. What was it about?
It's difficult to say. The visions don't explain themselves.
See, I've been hunting around those parts for a long time. Never saw like such thing as the Hydra. Never such a thing as those Twig thing, right? Something is changing around here. Some new kind of power.
I interject myself. My voice is still pained.
Must be elves. Evil elves.
Elves. Could be. I've logged trees for the village my whole life, and never did nature try to interject.
Could be elf. I look at the omelet. Division say anything about it?
I shake my head. I've turned my gaze towards Rat, looking at his shoulder, looking at the blood dripping down his arm.
The wound clearly visible on top of the leather ripped apart. It's a nasty wound.
I look at Omelette,
Inviting.
looking at the rat bastard. I say, can you help him?
I stop in my tracks and I open up my component pouch again and pull out another sprig of mistletoe and cup it in my hands and breathe into my hands. A little light glows inside, and then I hand him the berries that I produce.
Doesn't Hydra smell blood? You can use it to attract the thing.
I grab the berries. I eat one half of it, and the other is groaning, and I start spreading on the wound.
Hadron picks up, now wearing his leather armor. If the Hydra doesn't pick it up, the wolves sure will. They howled long enough tonight.
The rain mask scent. It's good. Good omen.
I stop a bit, turn toward Rat Bastard. So you're good to keep on going?
I look at my wound. The filaments of green skin magically like growing on top of the wound, coagulating.
Yes, master. Yes.
All right. Let's keep
This
walking.
point-
Let's cross that stream.
If it is elves, then the Hydra will be able to bite them down.
There's a lot going on now. Human, elves, the forest itself, the Hydra. I need to think about it all. But first, we need to make ourselves safe from the fire spreading.
I press on behind Karn.
I quickly look over my shoulder, seeing the light from the forest fire spreading, and press on.
You've been in these woods for a lot of times. Do you not know a cave? Might be safer than just any old campfire.
There's some cave, but you don't want to be cave. You don't want to be trapped in a cave when the fire spread around you. You want to go where the fire won't spread.
Let's hope this stream stops it then. Or do you really want to be right here, where any branch can reach for you and snap your neck?
The cool night with moisture and dew hanging onto the grass on the floor. Yet several trees catch fire, including the tent. Before the first droplets fall from the sky.
Ah, so it is rain.
Let's press on.
I try to peer out in the distance and see how close we are to the river. And I listen for the sound of the bubbling stream.
Moving for a while, the sounds of a bubbling stream reaches your ear.
As the pit pad of the rain increases, I go a little bit to the right where there's a puddle forming, and I drop myself on this muddy puddle and start caking myself with mud, like on my face and my arms.
I point forward toward the stream. And I said, just a little bit ahead, there's a place where we can ford. And I start like doing a little jog.
Hadron follows your lead, jogging right behind you. Now
Dragonborns,
a downpour of rain streaming down onto the forest as another thunder rolls through the distance, lighting up the night for a split second.
I jump in from the mud.
Master, would be wise to mask scent.
I look at him and say, we don't know even what we're going after right now. Say,
Go over the mud.
I begin to struggle as I run behind them. Not keeping up the pace, huffing and puffing.
I'm following Karn up to the fording point on the river. I look for a way to approach the shore.
I stop by the edge of the water. I point at some rocks. And say, we can cross across those rocks, but be careful, the rain is going to make them slippery. I look at Chicken Bone and say, especially with you, with all this luggage you're carrying. And I start like crossing
The
the
river.
stream.
The river itself having risen by a few inches. Some of the rocks set on the water, just barely cresting.
I stop before the river. I'm crawling on fours now, looking side to side all the time, and I stop and I watch Karn go look back to the others. And the others.
I managed to, like, going from rock to rock, like I did many times before. I managed to go across without slipping. I reached the shore. Then I turn around. I say, come on, you coward.
Chicken Bones will grab his gear, pack it all with a sack, and give it a mighty knot. He will reach over and toss it over to the other side. Now, with only the rope in his hands, he will tie it around himself, then toss the rope. Grab it, Gorn!
I look at the rope, fall limply on the shore, and be washed away by the river.
Hadron puts a hand on Chicken Bone's shoulder, moving past him. I'm going first. And makes the trek over the rocks, jumping. And he slips halfway through into the water. Ah!
I yell,
My beady,
grab the rope!
the rope!
my beady eyes in the dark. I'm still on fours, just looking, but there's a giant grin on my face. A piranha grin.
Omelette.
I turn around and look at Rat, and I swing my tail around and hold out my hand, offering to lift him up.
Distracted, I look at Omelette.
It's good, Omelette. You go.
Cock my head to the side, shrug, and make my way into the. I don't bother to try to balance on the rocks. I happily go into the water, up to my waist, treading through.
At the deepest point, the water itself is about 1.5 orcs deep.
I'm a pretty solid swimmer, so I don't mind the depth.
I'm now looking at the Chicken Bones, like looking behind my back at Chicken Bones. My eyes reflecting the a little bit of light in the dark.
I'm
Seeing the
looking at
greenhorn, seeing the greenhorn fall to the water, grab the rope. Chicken Bones will quickly undo the rope around his waist, and he will wrap it all the way around his arm, getting ready to pull Greenhorn out of the water if he does indeed grab the rope.
Sinking like a rock, clearly inept with any skill of swimming whatsoever, he reaches around flailing, looking for the rope. Grasping it with a finger, pulling himself, tugging on it. Ugh. His face breaching the water.
With the
Seeing
rope,
people are
start pulling it as much as I can, trying to get him off of the water. Back to my
Seeing
side
the-
of the stream, but safe.
seeing the orcs occupied, I now make my way to the rocks and I start skipping on them like a frog on all fours, like from rock to rock. I jump to one on the middle rocks. My hands both slip, and I hit with my chin on the rock, on the water.
Master
The water
Karn,
is
I had a omelette. Grab the rat. What's up, Chicken Bone?
the Greenhorn. He should return to the village. Tell them what happened here.
We'll need
He
him.
pulls himself out of the water at this point, shaking off as much of the water as he can, drenched.
You want to turn around, Greenhorn? Defeated by water.
I will make it across. Let's do this stupid rope thing,
Yeah.
Chicken Bones.
From the
Yeah, we'll tie to the boat, to the rope.
from the middle of the stream, I'm comfortably treading water, watching as everyone seems to struggle, and I make my way towards Rat.
I get
Ah.
dragged underwater, getting closer to you.
Fish are skipping upstream, breaching the water, and swimming past the group in the deep darkness of the night. As Hadron makes it for another attempt with Chicken Bones, this time holding for dear life on the rope.
I look at Adron, amused. Come on.
With the aid of Chicken Bones, the guidance of the rope, he too makes it to the other side.
I go to him, I grab the end of the rope that he was holding, and I wrap it around my elbow. I said, all right, your turn, Chicken Bone.
You were
I'm
right,
going.
Corn. The forest is cursed.
See, yeah, I'm sure that's what it is.
I reach Rat Bastard and again offer to help him cross.
This time I grasp on firmly on Omelette's arm. I'm pulling myself out of the water. I spray water.
Chicken Bones will.
I use my powerful tail like a crocodile to swim across to the other side.
Chicken Bones will tie the rope around himself once more and skip through the rocks. You've done well.
And I, when you arrive close to the shore, I extend a hand, grab your arm, and pull you for the last bit. And I go sit down on the fallen tree nearby. And I grab my wineskin, take a swig, and I rub my chin.
Thanks for the help.
I'm looking at Omelette coming out of the water.
I come up on the muddy bank and rise onto my two hind legs and let Rat slide down to his feet.
I slide down and immediately start re-caking myself with mud.
The wind picks up
Chicken.
again. Rain pouring. Most of it hanging, dripping through the trees. Some of the foliage giving cover. Red Bastard and the greenhorn drenched in water in a point of exhaustion.
I walk over to the greenhorn and tap his shoulder. Hey, at least now, as the goblin said, the Hydra won't smell you coming.
I look at the half-breed as you say that. And I look at Red Bastard. So you say like you think the Twig thing can be elf magic, but we haven't seen elf in a while. Could human do such a thing? And I look at Omelette. Or could it just be something else? Where does Hydra come from?
I stop caking myself.
They all do it. Humans and elves.
I stand up and start walking mud bank uphill, getting further from the river.
I look over to the nearby tree and look at our somewhat damp companions and tilt my head towards it. We should make a fire.
I look at the sky.
Hadron,
Saying that rain, you think you can? You can light up something?
If I have enough cover from the tree, perhaps.
But we should make a fire then. We're all gonna be drenched.
Chicken Bones yawns. I have not finished my sleep yet. None of us have rested.
I finally making my way next to Karn.
It's not safe.
I'm looking around, a little bit paranoid.
You're right. Maybe there is a cave somewhere. Let me think a second. On this side of the river. Can't think of anything, to be honest.
It would be good for shelter, but we would be trapped inside of it. Not good. Must always have escape.
Typical goblin thinking.
My ears droop down. Rain moving my cowl, making it shake a bit.
I make my way to the leeward side of the tree, gauging how much wind it'll break and seeing how wet the ground is at the base of the tree trunk.
A lot of trees have foliage all the way down. A mix of seasonal trees losing their foliage in the winter and regaining it in the summer, and some carnivore trees, evergreen throughout all season.
I look for a coniferous tree with thick branches, and I try to snap some of the branches that are closest to the ground off to allow us to get a little bit closer to the tree trunk.
I follow Omelette as he's doing his shtick. I'm still walking on the forest very low to the ground in order to try and make myself harder to spot.
Omelette, your witch goo, does it work under the rain? How we burn a hydra?
I look at the I look over at Karn.
I'm sipping on my wineskin, and I point at Chicken Bone and say, "Halfbreed, you should finish get dressed. We'll move."
I will narrow my eyes, but ultimately nod. Better to finish it quickly and get off, hey?
Adrian rubs his shoulders for warmth and lets out a sneeze, affected by the water and the cool wind.
I begin to like rake my claws on the ground, scooping the leaves and underbrush that have been somewhat protected by this coniferous tree, and try to make a pile of kindling.
A nature check. Or
Okay.
survival.
I look at Omelette and say, "If we can start a fire, it's gonna be worth like drying out. But if not, the best thing we can do is move. Standing in the wet clothes, it's just gonna make you colder."
So 16 for nature. I turn to Korn and I say, "Where should we go?"
Go back on the hunt, I guess. For the
Master,
dream.
in the rain, the plan will not work. How we burn the beast then?
I'm shivering a bit now.
We got the half-breed hooks, and the rain will stop.
Surely it will stop. The rain doesn't last more than half a day.
Greenhorn, if you start moving, then you'll warm up as well.
We're being
He
hunted.
nods.
We should move. Yes, yes.
Looking around.
I look at Omelette. Omelette's progress with the fire.
Sparking up, burning the branches, kindling, turning into a small fire.
I look at Rat Bastard and Greenhorn, like pointing with my chin at each other. Take off your clothes and dry them to the fire. Then we'll move.
There's lots of some of the leaves are damp and there's lots of pine needles in it. It's very smoky. Try to go find something more appropriate for the fire. And go look for maybe a birch tree or some dead logs and limbs that are on the ground.
Chicken Bones will approach the makeshift fire and will start shifting the weight of the armor over incorrectly. He fixes donning the armor properly, and he will stand guard, walking a few paces off. I'll stay guard.
I begrudgingly approach the fire, removing my cloak, unstrapping the little bits of clothing I have, sitting it next to the fire.
Your eye's not good to the dark.
The greenhorn joins in, huddling around the fire, removing his chest piece and shirt. The forest itself, unkempt and old, many fallen trees, feeding mushrooms and insects, littering through the forest, plants growing up and down, some of them protected from the rain.
I find a nice dead. Oh, sorry.
All right. Good.
I find a nice dead log and scrape off a layer of moss and give it a little tap to see if it feels really heavy or kind of almost hollow sounding. And then feeling satisfied that it's still somewhat dry on the inside, I pick it up and drag it towards the campfire.
I move closer to the fire, the nascent fire, and I sit into a nearby tree and lean against the tree, chewing on some of my ration, drinking some of my wine.
I am warming myself in the fire now. Surprisingly, quite muscly body for such a thin frame. Many scars on my back of lashes. The previous wound on my shoulder still very lumpy. The scar.
We'd best find this Hydra and finish this hunt quick, Chicken Bones says as he leans back against the tree, trying not to catch too much rain whilst watching all the possible avenues of approach.
I hate this forest already. We should cut down every single tree and build a fortress.
I try to look at where we come from, trying to see if the fire is still going, if I can see like the light in the reflecting in the sky on the cloud.
Visible white plume smoke trailing into the sky. The glow of fire diminished.
Maybe one day we'll get rid of this forest.
I can forge all the metal in the mountain if you cut it all down for me.
The fire
I'm
roaring up with the extra fuel, aiding along with the drying of clothing. Adrian looks quite pleased. I must say, you're the most useful lizard I've met.
I take the wolf pelt that I wear off, and I've kind of crumpled up and begin wringing it out, and shake my body off like a dog, splattering some droplets on my nearby companions.
I point at Omelette, and I say to Greenhorn, I'll take 3 of them. I'll take 3 of you for one of them, right? I'll lose 3 of you to keep one of them. I sip more of my wine, looking at the steam come off with the clothes that are drying up.
I'm holding some of my cape closer to the fire, try to speed up the process.
You don't need that many. You just need to find one more. Then they make eggs, right? Like a big chicken.
I smile looking at Omelette.
I'm looking between corn and chicken bones with sort of blank expression.
Maybe
Put my wine.
he's related to those beasts in the mountains. The wyverns. With
I
their
put my
deadly
wineskin,
stings.
my wineskin away. I slap on my lap, my thigh, and I stand up. I say, let's get going. We're going after those humans. We follow the stream. Humans like to set camp near a stream. So we're gonna come across them. They might be distracted now with the rain.
Sounds
and
like
the
a plan.
fire.
We'll be outnumbered.
I now gliding myself back.
You don't know that.
They never walk alone.
We already killed 2 of them.
What can the humans do? We're here for the Hydra. Besides, I've heard that humans walk with a lot of men, especially when coming to dangerous places. And you know, our territory is dangerous for them.
I want to know if
They've
the
lost some
humans are
before,
behind those Twig people. And I want to know if the Hydra went after those humans.
But
If humans have
master,
army, then Hydra will cut through army.
none of us can speak men language.
I'm not going for tea.
Adrian turns to Chicken Bone, says, Red Bastard says nobody can speak.
Yeah. Goblin's wrong, like always. I can speak what my mother taught me. Not much.
I start now crawling like to approach Karn, and I kind of when nobody's looking, I pull a little bit on your armor to call Karn's attention.
I look down at you.
I do a gesture like I want to say something in silence.
I crouch down.
I start whispering in Orcish.
Master, he speaks human. But if he betrays us, we won't know the wise. We wouldn't know.
Maybe it's good that we go now. We'll see what side is on, and then it will be set.
I nod and keep on crawling on all fours. Still very paranoid, looking side to side.
I start walking alongside the river upstream.
The clothing now dried. Adrian takes his to put on and follow up behind Corn, jogging to keep up with him.
Chicken Bones will follow behind Greenhorn.
Standing beside the fire, just poking at the ashes and the coals with the stick. I watch as my companions scatter off in different directions.
Corn pop. A lot of signs in the mud. Prints, paws, different animals. A common drinking spot.
I just keep walking. I turn over to look at Rat Bastard. And I point at the print in the mud.
Paying attention to Karn now.
Yes, master.
You see, human are not gonna be far. There's water, there's game. They were there hunting. We should come across them soon. Keep following the stream.
Yes.
I start scrolling on a slower pace, trying to be next to Omelette as we go.
Walking behind, Chicken Bones will raise more objections again. Humans lost their own here. Big groups come out looking for them. We don't want to walk into this big group. We're here for the Hydra, are we not?
I look at Chicken Bone, and I raise an eyebrow, and I nod. Not at Chicken Bone, at Red Bastard. Raise an eyebrow, and I nod. So he's objecting. And I keep walking.
I not back, but I keep slowing my crawl to catch up with. Let Omelette catch up with me.
I've discarded the stick that I was playing with and trotted off to follow after them as they trace the riverbank. And I glance between Greenhorn and Chicken Bones, just looking at their faces.
The fog starts to settle and thicken as we, in the deepness of the night, Adrian himself speaking up. Not every hunt is successful. We kill some humans, that's some good. We can loot them for what they're worth. At least we get some meat out of this.
Maybe some bait for the Hydra after that.
As meat is brought up, Chicken Bones begins fiddling the holy symbol between his neck. Closeness and the attention that Omelette has. You can see the symbol of a human god in silver between his thumb every time he flicks it.
Footprints cross the path.
I stop. And I lean over to the mud. Say, there you go. Found what we're looking for. Everybody, move quietly from now on.
The imprint in the shape of a foot with 5 toes. Barefoot humanoid.
I pull my gaze away from Chicken Bones, having studied him for a moment. I look at the footprints that Corn is pointing out and determine what direction of travel the steps seem to be going.
Impossible to say with the fog. It just trails off in one direction.
I get really close to the footprint with my face, almost as if I'm trying to smell it.
It's barefoot. Humans don't. Humans wear shoes.
I look at that bastard. I say, I don't know, maybe he went for a swim, taking the shoes off. I point at the river.
It's too dark. They're scared of it.
What?
Humans are scared of the dark, Master. Why would swim at this time?
Maybe those Aaron picks up. Those prints could be from yesterday. Who knows?
Yeah. I studied the print with my experience as a ranger. Looking at the depth, looking at how deformed it is, right? The side of the print, if it's like been washed out, how dried the mud is around.
The prints themselves. Deep. Going in 2 directions. Towards the stream. And away from the stream. The ones leading away. An inch deeper than the other.
See, they went to come to pick up water. They left the stream more loaded than they came from. So I point like to the print, like the direction where the print goes away. This way we'll find the camp. And I start moving silently toward this way.
Yes, Master.
My voice sounds tired.
Chicken Bones follows after Kaharn. Although he crouches down and tries to move silently, the clinking of his ring mail is heard.
Every clink, my ears twitch. Like kind of try to.
Half an hour passes. It is becoming dawn as a first set of birds start chirping.
If we can get them just as they wake up, that'd be a good time.
I am a little bit far from the group. Still crawling. I am breathing a bit heavy.
A smell penetrates. Red bastard. Piss.
Stop on my track. I I raise myself on all fours, look at Omelette. Still, I'm the mud's now a little bit dried on me, making myself look like a mound of mud.
The fog covering vision. Anything further away than 10 feet. Just a shade. Anything beyond 20 invisible. A shadow standing with a stream rising. And somebody letting out an exhausted tying a knot.
I approach it almost like a spider, getting to bounce distance.
Looking at Red Bastard, I smile and I draw my swords. I let Red Bastard go forward, following slowly behind him, let him get some distance.
Omelette.
Having left behind several things at the camp, I've preoccupied myself while we're walking with scraping my claws against a little bit of wood, shaping it into an implement, shaping it into a club. Mostly keeping my attention on that as I follow behind.
Chicken Bones will raise his hand and put it on the shoulders of Greenhorn. Wait. They're hunters. We're here for muscle. Once the fight begins, we charge in and help. Let them get the drop on them.
Adrian rubs his shoulders and grabs his great axe from the sling of his back to hold with both hands, staying completely silent. The shade itself making a saying a word in human. What was that?
I cover in mud. I freeze down very low to the ground. I look like a pile of mud. I wait for it to walk just past me so I can strike it.
Stepping past your position, Red Bastard. Muscular legs of a tall man with a scruffy beard.
With my hand, I grab my bow knife and slash at his hamstring, make him lose control of his leg.
You have advantage, catching him by surprise.
10?
A 10 will hit.
The dagger slices through his pants, leaving a trail of blood in midair.
It's a death blow.
I get caught on by the bloodlust. After striking his leg, I start climbing him, start shanking him on his back repeatedly, holding the dagger with both hands.
A short gasp cut short as he falls down, face deep in the mud and greenery. Blood splaying upward, covering your fingers.
I run to Rat Bastard and the down man, and I put my hand on the shoulder of Rat Bastard and say, "That's enough." And
I almost as if not hearing Karn, I grab the man's face and like turn. I want to try to look at his face. At his face.
Hearing the commotion, I freeze in place as I'm scraping away and look over and notice Rat on top of this human.
Chicken
Blonde
Bones
hair,
will look over, trying to see what's happening. Not really able to. Waiting for the signal to move in.
with
blonde hair. Its face covered with 2 scars. Blonde hair on his head, tied into knots. The scruffy beard, having small beads woven into them. Tattoos over the shoulder blades with some dark ink.
I'm like pulling his shirt away, like inspecting him. I grab my knife and I start cutting off a little piece of his shoulder skin with the tattoo on it.
Chicken Bones approaches, seeing Kaharn's signal. He leans in to see the human, and his eyes widen.
I
You've
pay
killed him.
attention to Chicken's bone face as he watch the human. Yeah, that's what we do.
Well, you did wrong, because he could have told us where the camp is, how many there are. Could have been prisoner. Slave.
I squint my eyes, looking at the half-breed. The camp's gonna be closed.
I finally pull out almost a foot long piece of skin with tattoos on it. I'm looking at it. My hand's blooded, blood splattered on my face. I'm still squat on top of this guy.
Hadron squints. I can barely see anything in this fog. But this looks like a stag, pointing at the tattoo.
I look at the feet of the dead man. Looking to see if he's
His-
wearing any boots.
His feet are covered in moccasins. Rabbit leather. Simple craftsmanship.
I go look for the tracks for where it came from.
I put his
Bellied.
skin on a little pouch.
The tracks leading uphill through several underbrushes. As shades of buildings, log cabins come into view through the thick fog.
Is that?
I know my attention from this. I start paying attention to what's actually happening around me. I hop off of the guy, crawling.
Human settlement.
Is deep
I
in the
smile.
woods?
Well, not for long. I grab my bow. and an arrow with the resin, the flammable resin. I look at Omelette over my shoulder.
My eyes widen.
Master, wait.
I hop closer to you.
We outnumbered. Should bring a war party.
Adrian clenches his axe. I am the war party.
Let's burn under their log cabin. You'll see the number. Not gonna matter that much after that.
I start crawling a little bit backwards, approaching Chicken Bones.
I will look down to Rat Bastard, trying to ignore his presence. I think that we can fight, even with lower numbers. Just need to be smart. Fire is good. But if we go between those two buildings, then they'll need to bunch up to fight us. Even better. I'll be with my shield in the front.
I glance down at the body of the human and see if it has any weapons or if it's wearing any armor.
Ward off the winds of the night, and a short dagger tucked in to his belt, itself carved out of stone.
I look up at the sky and look for the sun. If I can see a glow through the mist on the horizon. See if the sun is rising yet.
The dawn is painting the scenery in a dark pink purple hue, the fog itself diffusing the lights in all directions.
I say it shouldn't be much longer before the sun bakes this fog away.
Let's act before it does. Let's benefit from the surprise. And I point the resin-covered arrow to Omelette.
I offer a flickering flame in one of my claws.
I look at the substance on the arrow lighting up. Then I draw the bow, aim at the roof of one of the log cabin, and loose.
The arrow sinks in, the flames flickering up as the thatch roof starts catching fire, quickly burning up into a increasingly sized campfire. Time is ticking as the birds chirp.
So now they'll be distracted.
We should round up the humans as they run, as they flee.
They're probably gonna try to put down the fire.
Maybe.
But if their
Footsteps.
leader climbs up, he should be the first to act, right? If you shoot their leader, then they will panic.
But how to tell? Humans look same.
I can understand what they say. I'm too far.
Footsteps walking outside beyond the log cabin as somebody grunts out, surprise at the fire. Huh? Oh! Getting hurried, opening a door. The fog blinding any vision of what's happening, except the burning of the fire itself.
Just give it a moment. They're gonna exhaust themselves trying to put out the fire. They're gonna disarm themselves to do it better. Then we strike. The fog should lift soon with the sun rising.
I listen
The
for
first yell.
voices to try to determine. I listen for the human voices to hear how many unique voices I can hear as they cry out in panic and try to manage their fire.
The words fire distinguish through the languages. The humans calling out in their language, calling out, "Bring your brother! Get the buckets! Empty the barrels if you must! Got fire!" Some talking, some people running. Got it! They speak gruff, their language, their human language, not civilized at all.
I'm low to the ground once again. My ears directed towards the road now roaring fire, waiting for the right moment.
Steps.
I silently try to move to the side, closer a bit to the building, the firing building, trying to see, get a better view of the action.
Chicken Bones psychs himself up and begins following after Kaharn.
People getting surprised, waking up inside the building, running outside. One of these steps run closer to the backside of the building as a man comes into view with a bucket of water in hand, stopping at the side of corn.
I drop my bow, draw my sword, extend my arm, and grin.
A scream hails out from him, stumbles backwards, falls onto his butt. A young boy, 14 years, yelling out in common, "Peter! Peter!" Omelette.
I look to Master Karn and I say, "We've been spotted. Let's strike."
Chicken Bones.
Chicken Bones will psych himself up almost with a bloodlust, having to almost ignore his senses as he has to move forward. He raises his warhammer, not like a trained warrior, but more like a true brute. He rushes forward. But as he does, he shouts in common, "Grab the kids and women, run far away from here," as he charges in to attack.
Red Best, I am still on the ground in such a way that looks like there's just this little anthill where I am peeking through my my hood, waiting for the right moment.
Not even Chicken Bones knowing if he wanted to hit or not, his swing goes wide.
The water bucket crashes on impact, exploding in many splinters as the boy scrambles away from the swing. Corn Pop.
I run toward the boy with drawing my sword. Well, my sword drawn. So, and I go to stab him. And I plunge my sword into him. Seven damage.
Reaching for his dagger, holding it in your direction, his arm far too short. Blood's splaying out. As he chokes on the gurgling. Too weak to move. Falling onto his back. A lot more men now screaming out, organizing, calling out, "We are under attack!" Screeching of some women, of babies, barking of dogs, more and more people rushing. A couple of men breaking through the shades into view. Now holding short swords in their hands.
I bare my teeth and snarl as my body begins to change shape, and I take the form of a brown bear and get up on my hind legs and let out a roar at the approaching humans.
One of them stumbles back in fear, the other one braced to fight.
They start slowly creeping, waiting, timing my movements to when they pay attention to the bear, trying to make my way sideways to them so I can strike from either flank or behind.
Beating his shield menacingly, Chicken Bones will move forward, imposing himself between the coming humans and Karn, ready to fight and protect the hunt's master. I ready an attack if they do indeed come.
I draw my sword back from the boy. I swing it to swipe to let the blood swipe down. And I start like walking behind Chicken Bone. Looking casual, right? Like looking like trying to be intimidating towards the human. Smirking.
The barking grows louder as another man reaches the other two and howls at them. "Strike them down! Do not let them take our village. Kill them all." pushing past him and swinging his weapon towards Chicken Bones, a long spear, as they engage you in mortal combat. Missing his attack. The other two are now yelling. Another one attacking Chicken Bones, the third one, Corn Pop.
That's it.
Corn Pop is, the short sword, penetrating skin for 2 damage.
I growl, looking at the blade penetrate my flesh. And I raise my 2 swords, and I strike at the guy that just struck me.
As
First
they
one.
ch-
First one's a miss. Second one for 17.
Reading your movement, moving accordingly, keeping his distance, keeping at arm's length with his sword, ready to strike any exposed body parts. Trained warrior. Omelette.
Having readied himself to defend Kaharn once the humans came, Chicken Bones was beating on his shield with the hammer, and as they approached, he swung all the way around and tried to go for the head of the charging human.
Okay.
$12.
A 12 hits.
$4 damage.
A hit. He stands, shaking off the attack, blocking most of it with his own weapon. Shaken but not defeated.
Chicken Bones will shout at him. Ah!
I'm still trying to stealthily approach the man to be once again within bounce strike distance. Try to not be seen in the midst of the chaos. Then
Completely preoccupied with the orc warriors in front of them. None of them spot a crawling cockroach.
Dagger in one hand. This time going for the joint in between the hamstring and the calf to debilitate the leg of the closest man. Strike. Wait. 16.
13. 16 is a death blow.
It's once again taken by a bloodlust. Strike this leg, and I grab his leg and start running back a little bit to the metals, dragging the man.
In complete surprise, he yells out, screeching in terror, "Ah! Ah! Ah!" as he gets pulled away deeper into the fog. With
His
the sound
scream
of
starts
daggers
going,
penetrating flesh.
gurgling, drown out into the fog.
Omelette.
I bound towards the humans that are the human that's closest to Karn, and I raise up with one paw up high and swipe down towards his head. That's 23.
A strike.
$13 slashing.
A death blow.
My paw comes down across his face and down his chest, tearing his face open, and blood pours out from his neck as his jugulars cut open. I turn towards the next closest human and charge towards it, snapping my jaws. That's a miss.
Using his spear to keep your jaws between his fleshy body parts, dodging out of the way, taking the opportunity to strike back at the bear, yelling out as two more run through the fog with weapons in hand, axes, and a dog charging through. A dog jumping through the air and biting into your shoulder. The teeth scraping a bunch of fur of the brown bear, but missing the human with the spear, commanding the others. Fight them back! Don't let them think we are weak. They feel pain just like the rest of you. Sinking the spear towards the bear.
I swat it away before it can plunge into my skin.
I point with my one of my short sword toward the guy with the spear. I say, "Get him!" and I charge toward him. For 19, with my first sword, I charge. Swing one of my sword. Cut him on the side. The next sword come down a little too soon. Miss.
Chicken Bones follows after Kaharn, his eyes snapping to their leader. He charges forth, the chainmail clinking as he does, and he raises his warhammer up high. Once meeting the leader's head, twists it to the side, carrying his head with him with the momentum of the blow, almost knocking him down. He will attempt to look menacing as he does, trying to scare all. Using menacing attack on the enemy leader.
What is...
Wisdom save or frightened.
Got it. And that's 12 damage. The two other humans stumble back, but they bark. The man you've just hit just barks back at you. Roar! And others join in and snarl, getting ready to strike.
Prepare my
Red
shield
fast.
for it.
Red bastard, it's your turn.
Jumping from the fog into the fray, taking advantage of the chaos and the surprise attack. Holding in one hand a human short sword I've just looted. I'm hurling a dagger towards the man in front of Omelette. $15. I'm screaming like.
The dagger sinks into the neck of one of the warriors, slicing it through, the tip sticking out the other side as he falls to his knees, the sword rolling out of his fingers.
I yell something that the humans have learned to fear a couple 10 years ago. Like Nadib lives.
Omelette.
I can continue to gnash at this spear that's been like interposed into my mouth, blocking me from biting the human, and use my weight to get around it and snap at the human with my teeth. It's 20.
A strike.
Uh, 11 piercing.
Wounded, bloody, but standing.
I sink my teeth into the arm that he's got holding this spear, and I bring my claw around to swipe him across his face. That's 22.
Another hit.
15.
He takes the beating left and right. Blood oozing out of his body, but he keeps yelling out, "Stand and fight, man! We have to hold them back until the women escape." In common. With that, he lets go of the spear, crushing in your jaw, to slip out the scimitar from his back and strike across your stomach, across the shoulder, the front part of the bear.
Hits.
Dealing 6 slashing damage. And he does a second attack. The second one not having enough follow through as the muscles like squirt out some blood, gliding off the fur. The
I let out
other
a
man
roar in pain.
Another man yells out and says, Scotty, get the rat. Get the dog itself, letting go of the bear and scurrying towards Rat Bastard, smelling your location and jumping you. With a 21. Biting into you for 2 damage.
This dog on top of me. I holding the short sword, trying to push the dog away. I shank it on its neck while it's biting down at me. $16.
His jaw refuses to let go, but the body falters as the dog yelps out and becomes a lifeless corpse, locked in place,
My
holding you
eyes
down.
slowly, lightly glowing yellow in the mist. I have crazed eyes. I look at the human, like, tweak my head a bit, and start running towards him with the sword in my hand.
One human still standing next to the chieftain strikes towards Corn Pup with the 2 humans in Mortal Kombat with a short sword.
I see the sword coming, and I just like beat it up with my own sword.
The blade swings through the air, gets stuck inside the log cabin between the logs.
And I follow right away with striking him with one of my short sword. 11. And then my other sword follow through. 17. Five damage. His arm that is still holding to the sword stuck to the log cabin. Now I got a big gash on it. As I
Yelling out in
let a
pain,
chuckle go.
biting his tongue, blood oozing over his lips. Omelette.
I continue mauling the human. Try to find purchase with my teeth. Going for the neck, but missing. Yeah, the 10 misses, right?
Yes.
I take another swipe with my claws for 16.
A hit. He's holding your teeth apart with his hands, letting the sword drop to the floor to stop you from biting his head off.
I dig my claw into one of the shoulders of the arm he's fending me off with, and that's 8 damage.
Battered, bruised, bleeding, but standing. Chicken bones.
Seeing that their leader is wounded, he will turn his shield towards the only man that is standing beside their leader. He will charge forth with the shield, bashing him, then try to grapple him.
Okay. seeing your approach coming, he pulls himself together with the weight of the bear, getting the bear's head in your way as you approach with a bash.
I run into the back of Omelet's bear form with my shield, unable to reach the man around the enormous creature.
Red bastard.
Running, dashing towards the man with Shomalets on top of. I wind a strike with the short sword, almost like a golf strike. And as I approach him from the side, I just slice at the side of his head. It's 18.
Which man? The chieftain
One.
or his ally?
Ally.
A death blow.
Short sword that slices through, spraying blood. Some brain matter dropping on the muddied, cold dirt.
Hanging, limp, a death grip on his sword, stuck in the log cabin, looking down, blood oozing and covering the green verdant floor.
I immediately start dashing towards the leader.
Surrounded by 3 of you, he yells out, and punches the bear in the throat. Going for it, but his arms too weak at this point to have any fight left in him. Yeah, it's loud. Come and get me! People yelling in the background, running, screaming, getting lower and lower as they escape the camp. Karn.
I turn my attention back to the chieftain. One of my sword dropped down on his sword arm. The second one following right next to it. Total 9 damage.
A 9 damage, a death blow.
Strike after strike. One getting in his arm. One getting in his at the base of his shoulder and collarbone. Deep into the flesh.
Mid sprint.
My hands reach to his my first send that strike. Reach through his head and grab his hair before he can fall down. And hold him up.
Chicken
His eyes
bones.
stay open. Blood bleeding everywhere as the light in his eyes start to fade.
Chicken Bones will go over to one of the downed humans, and he raises his head, getting an idea. He looks around one of the building and yells out, "There's more!" without seeing anyone else there, trying to create a distraction for his own men so that to buy the women and children more time. He seems to almost ready his shield and warhammer as if he was fighting something there, where no one else can see.
Mid sprint at the leader, seeing Karn's dealing with him. I break on the mud, creating a little trail. I immediately look towards the main village, trying to spot the smallest running individual. Eyes wide and see if I can see who's the smallest one running away.
The fog lightening up, now allowing for up to 40 foot to see a shade in the distance, couple footsteps before they run deeper into the fog. Red bastard.
I sprint like a mad dog on all fours, trying to approach them.
Whisperings. Kalash, Zala, be bound, you beast. Be bound. Ranks itself, digging out of the green verdant floors, reaching out towards you, red bastard, trying to entangle you. Dexterity saving throw.
Nine.
The first one just stumbling you in time, scrambling back up. The second and third bind over your shoulders and or your back, pulling you down, tightening up as more and more ranks tighten over your body. The shade of a person with a long stave as a smaller figure runs past her, whispering, I will remember this creature. In common. And then
I'm
disappearing.
Trying to cut off the branches. I'm yelling now. I've been snagged! Snagged!
Holding the head of the war chief with my other sword, I strike at the neck, severing the head. And I throw it out to where the creature was just before disappearing.
Lighting up the sides of the war party with the burning log cabin like a massive bonfire. We end the session for tonight.
Good session.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, Mr. Playing both sides, eh?
Well, I am
Right from the
fighting
start.
for the orcs, but I thought that using the language barrier, I could, buy some time, not for the humans to win, but for the humans to retreat with their women and children. That's what I've been trying so far.
And to win another day.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
but this is cool. I
All
like
right.
the
Session,
mental
yeah.
impact and chicken bones of having to fight for both sides almost at the same time.
Yeah.
This was cool. I like
And
it.
I'm not sure if you hit any of the human.
I didn't. And
Just missed.
I'll
You're like
try.
completely-
I'll try not to eat.
Look,
Yeah.
it looked convincing, okay? I mean, unless
Yeah.
you were like right next to him, watching him fail every single attack.
We need to we need to be a little more careful with the turns. That's what I would say.
Mhm.
Yes.
Calvin, you
the
need to take
turn
your
order
turn.
was
And Nicholas, one turn.
What? Wait, what? One? I did one, right?
The dog attacked you, and you did like an immediate. I'm taking my turn now to attack.
No,
the dog."
I thought it was my turn.
It wasn't.
No, it's
Okay.
so I gave all of you guys a turn, and then I play at like all of the NPCs.
You
So
forgot.
then I do all the
I was
NPCs, and then I
confused
start
at the
with-
order.
Greenhorn was never mentioned.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. I guess he didn't
He
join this
cowered.
fight. He
Yeah.
cowered. Yeah. Forgot
So,
about
yeah.
it,
He,
right?
he lost
But-
to Red Bastard.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
okay
it
also,
was
like- Hmm?
it was Mr. Max first, and then I, then Omelet and Rat Bastard was the last
I
one.
thought, no, I think it was like me, then Omelette, then you, then Red Bat. I think that was the order we did. Like
okay.
originally, like we
Yeah.
kind of went like counterclockwise in a sense,
I was
right? And
trying
Mm,
to,
okay.
but
Yeah.
yeah, like with chicken bones, you cut
I
it in the
think-
turn before
Yeah,
omelets.
once or
So,
twice.
so I
someone
just
screwed it up.
kept track of it after the fact to make sure
Yeah.
omelet has his turn
Yeah.
before
Also,
I
like
strike.
NPCs, right? I'm okay when sometimes like they're not mentioned because like he might be doing his own thing. Maybe like one man like came out and he fought and he got engaged with this man, like, and we didn't see him doing that because we're like in the scrum ourselves, right? So like that's not necessarily like a bad thing. I think like when the NPC just kind of get like in the background, maybe he fought with somebody, like maybe one of the men like came around to him and we don't know yet, or maybe he did coward, right? We'll figure out after.
You have to find out next episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
On
But
the
yeah, I think, like,
next
For this
Dragon
episode, I
Ball
think like
Z.
this is the one thing that we need to improve would be like trying to get better turn order and like also like keeping our turn short, right? Trying to like turns are supposed to be like 6 seconds, right? It's like how much you can do, and there's also like the mechanics. If you run to it to strike somebody, while you took your movement and your action, right? You don't necessarily have another movement after that.
I thought my thing would allow me to do that though.
Could be.
Am I
Yeah,
wrong?
you might have something
Because I
that
have a
allows you-
dash. I have a free
You do.
dash, right?
Oh,
With
yeah.
your bonus action, yes.
Well,
As the rogue, you can
Okay,
basically cover double the distance.
Then that's
I do
fair.
have a
Then-
question,
then, like,
who-
doesn't apply.
who are you referring to? Because I don't know if I had any turn inflation.
I think.
So
it was
I mean,
Uh,
at the start, right? Like we had the fight start with corn, and then
Yeah.
you took a turn chicken bones. When I was trying to go clockwise with omelet, chicken bones, red bastard, then I play out the NPCs and start with corn again. So
and-
that was at the start.
To be fair, also like the system is difficult. It does lean toward like turn inflation because like people
Yeah.
have multiple attack. People have like feature they can do, like, oh, I can attack and do it and bonus action and shit like that,
Yes.
right? So I cannot really criticize that because the system like does like push you toward that in a sense, right? Just like so.
A good example
I
is my
know.
battle.
I know.
Master
At one
maneuver.
point, yeah, and at one point you did a reaction, and I picked up on that, but
Yeah.
it was a bit difficult to like you were waiting for me to finish and then you described your reaction after the
The
fact,
ready.
which I guess was the only like way to do it, right? You did
Yeah, I'll
earn
be
the
honest.
reaction there in melee, so you should be able to strike.
Yeah, I didn't like the way the mechanics worked with ready in action, and I wouldn't do
Yeah.
it again because I think that was one of the things that made the turn order harder to follow. I think it was hard to follow
Yeah.
because I described myself like readying an action. I think you understood that, right? But then
Yes.
I didn't want to stop you from talking and say, "Oh, my reaction triggered," right? So I waited until you finished talking,
Yeah.
and then I think someone might have taken a turn between my
Might have been
reaction triggering and me doing it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
reactions don't work. Like using my reaction to ready an action, I think was the
You're,
one thing that
like-
screwed up the.
I didn't pick up on the ready action when you
really?
describe it, but like I'm not the most familiar with that. Like I haven't played 5e like in a while, so like I'm not like it's not like
Mhm.
fresh in my mind really. I don't know if the GM picked up on it. But yeah, I agree with you. That would be a challenge because you really need to kind of like telegraph it that that's what it's
Yeah.
you're doing, right? So the GM can say like, oh, now he's entering your range, right? All right, that's your trigger.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
like I said, I wouldn't ready an action again like that. Although I think it worked for what my character would do because he didn't want to be too aggressive with the humans. He wanted like to interpose himself
Yeah.
between you and the humans,
Mhm.
almost
Yeah.
defending you from the humans, almost like defending the humans from you as well. I think it was cool.
on your first
I mean-
strike, when you first attack Conway, and I wasn't sure if you attacked me or the boy, like you missed, right? So, but I wasn't sure who you were aiming at that point, right?
I was aiming
You
at the
just like
boy, yeah.
spoke in comments saying to flee, and you just came in, but then like Zonalar like narrated as you aimed at the boy, so I run with that, and you missed anyway. So like I could say like corn pop would have been like focused on the boy anyway. Like even if you tried to swing at him and miss, he could have not noticed, right? And just thought did a bad swing at the boy and come close to him, right? Just like, but so that's where I went with. But at some point, there was a bit, which again, could have been this confusion in game, right? As the character could have
Exactly,
been
like
like,
the
man,
character confusion, yeah.
yeah,
And it's cool because
especially if you miss so badly.
yeah, the pressure is there though. That's really cool because our characters had back and forths between like the human fighting thing, right?
Yeah,
I like this tension in the air.
Yeah.
Speaking of character confusion, I could have swore that Rat was attacking the chieftain, but then I think a different human died. Maybe I misunderstood or misheard.
Yeah, no, Rat did not go for the leader until he was the last one, and then he was ready, to strike, but he saw that the leader was dealt with. It's like I need to kill more, so like, where's that the weakest fugitives, So he was going after them after that.
Honestly, that part was a bit difficult because I was trying to make my turns shorter because I'm literally playing like between 2 to 4 different characters when it's my turn. So, and then I realized like, oh, I should have tried to distinguish them a bit more so you guys can pick out who is the war chief and like who is helping
That
him.
was
Like, yeah, to
a
me they're
source
like
of confusion for me as well.
Yeah. So that I guess that's where like co-creating elements of how they look like or something you pick out of like would help. But also like from me, like how much time do I have to describe them? I was trying to add in a bit more as we went along.
But I think like that's the case almost like when it's good to like oftentimes like when you do description, you want to add a new detail every time, like so you can flesh out a character. But I think in combat you almost have to go against that, right? Because like always like say the same thing, so it's always clear who you're talking about, right? Oh, the guy with the spear, or the war chief, the guy with the big head dress or whatever, right?
I think there were several guys with a spear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you need to find something else to describe them, but always like get like one thing, or you can maybe use like the guy that's engaged with Omelette is doing that, right? So not like if they're separated, like, but keeping a consistent language might be worth it in that case, I believe, right? Just something that's coming up with the top of my mind now, right?
Yeah,
at some point I said flavor.
At some point I said chieftain, right? Because it's like let's make it clear who's the boss in this battlefield.
Yeah.
And also the way they reacted to the taunts, like when they started barking and the others joined in. That also shows like who's leading them.
Yeah. And that's like especially like I like how you did that, because like at some point like you got this character like yelling at his man and stuff like that, and like barking order, even though if we don't understand we can recognize that. And then like, okay, now that's clear that chieftain, and then from then on, like you say, okay, he's a chieftain, right? Okay, we got it. We identified him as such, right? So now like the mystery is solved, so we just run with it, and okay, it is a chieftain. And I like that.
So something that just occurred to me. We've come up with a convention of describing something as a death blow, which is great. It helps with appropriate narration. Would it be useful for us to have any other keywords, like if I attack the chieftain and I do a certain amount of damage, and it's like, I don't know, less than a quarter of his health or less than a third of his health or whatever, and we say, oh, that's a minor injury, or maybe it's a major injury or something, that way I could say I bite his forearm versus I bite him in the neck and tear his fucking trachea out,
That's also like maybe like why the maybe it's better if like the GM describe the damage received. There might be like something there too, right? It could be
yeah, that's definitely it's a point of D&D and like similar games. I mean, Pathfinder or games with hit point systems. When you level up, you gain like a lot more hit points. So how do you convey that of, oh, I do 14 damage, that guy dies with 14 damage, but the chieftain
Yeah.
has like, to break the magic a bit, like 62 hit points or something like that, 62, 65.
I was thinking about that.
Okay. And usually what I do is Pathfinder, they use bloodied. So if it reaches 50%, they are bloodied. So
That's
I would
4E.
describe them as being bloodied.
It's D&D 4E
Well-
that does that.
Yeah. Yeah.
How dare you bring back something? I'm kidding.
But that's
The bush is
blood
bloody.
starts. Yeah, when blood starts flowing, like they start spitting out blood, like they're oozing everywhere. I use that kind of language to really show, like, okay, they're like at half hit points. Like now you've gone through the armor, you've done real damage.
I want to go to some of the comment. Like Dudos question, like Corn Pop is big smart. Yes, for an orc, it's
Yeah.
pretty.
He's a genius.
I'm trying to play in like a, you know, he knows some stuff, right? He's able to. He's functional. He's a functional orc, right? Especially in the woods and stuff like that.
That's why
But
he's,
he-
you know, why.
What?
That's why he survived so long, right? Like,
Yeah. But it's not like, but he also like doesn't have like a lot of follow through in his thought process, right? He's like he changes
Yeah.
his mind. He does like since orc
Yeah,
and
he-
magic are in the night, only nightmare in the forest.
Changes his mind like the wind sometimes.
I really like how Greenhorn
Like-
was depicted this session. Specifically for that, he's not the brightest, right? I feel like almost like my character's trying to keep him alive because
Yeah.
he,
Man,
you know, he's
I feel so horrible that like I'm going first, like pushing it away. He takes a jump,
Oh.
falls into the river immediately.
Yeah, I had
Like, yeah.
I had a little bit of a tough time imagining that scene because I was trying to reconcile there's an area of the stream that's shallow enough that there's stepping stones, but then the guy falls in and he's like
Yeah.
drowning or unable to swim. So I was trying to figure out, you know, which
I think
Yeah,
it's
but
not
for
to,
me-
is it
I
deep
think
or
it's
is
not
it
allowed
shallow?
to river more often.
Look, they were big stones. Okay, what can I say?
the river was
But for me-
roaring.
The danger was not the drowning. The danger was fucking catching a cold and gaining a point of exhaustion. If you
Which
roll
I
it.
did.
And I don't know if you recognize that, Red Bastard, because I said it once and once only. And
I did
rolled
not
a
I did not
mountain
write
damage.
down as like in my head he was just like super exhausted but not cold, so that's why I roll in disadvantage the escaping the vines because of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like he was still tired but nothing cold. It did not go through my mind because like
Okay.
in my head he's been used to living such squalid situations that like he's not gonna
Oh.
catch a normal cold, you know.
yeah.
I
To
think
be
River
fair, like,
is fine, and like being in the rain
not-
all night after the fact.
I
That's
don't even
fine.
know like the level of exhaustion work on top of my head. So if I caught
Yeah.
on, would I be like, oh man, fuck. What is it?
I was half expecting everybody to just like look at Greenhorn like nobody's doing nothing, just like looking silently as it's
You know-
dragged down the river. Like, yeah, well,
that-
that happens, you know.
The scene worked out great because I think I love the scene of like Chicken Bones, like, oh yeah, we're all in this together, and he tosses the rope, and everyone just watches. That was such a good scene.
What stupid human plan are you doing, Chicken Bones? Just walk
Exactly.
over the steps.
But I think it's funny because then it didn't work out because the rope is just like there in the
Yeah.
water. And then, like,
Yeah.
Greenhorn is
Yeah.
like, oh, grab the
Everyone's like,
rope.
Obviously, grab the bottle, Greenhorn. What are you doing? Grab the rope, Greenhorn.
Yeah, I like that scene was like way funny because I really like the way it turned out.
Yeah. Very
Man, the
comedic.
comedy in this session was out of this world. I don't know how we got there.
There was one moment. Oh man, it was like an accidental pun. I laughed to myself at the moment. Ah man, I have to rewatch. But there was a moment where it felt scripted. There was a situation. It was not the rope part. I'm
Okay.
angry with myself. I can't remember right now. I was
Accidental what,
expecting you
say?
guys to remember. accidental pun, or it
A
felt
pun.
scripted. Yeah.
Oh,
Like the timing, like the context. I
Oh.
have to rewatch. I don't know why I
Okay,
can't
okay.
remember right now.
We had many funny moments where I just had
Yeah.
to like fucking stop myself from giggling.
Guys, still was saying the scene seemed to be going a bit long. That was like at
Yeah.
3:04 my
Yeah,
time. So
I
there
was
were
a bit
3
confused by that.
After the
'cause we were not-
crossing, right?
Yeah, we didn't even know if we were gonna like camp or not, and you were like making a fire under a pine tree. I tried to move the scene forward, but see how Chicken Bones just stands in guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't sure where we were going either.
Nobody
But I
wasn't
think that
either.
was also in character, like you guys were
Yeah.
negotiating what to do back and
Mhm.
forth.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
So,
like that was a point, like we didn't have a clear goal, right? We weren't sure now like what to do, so we needed
Mhm.
some
the
time to
camp is
figure it
gone.
out.
It's the middle of the night.
But I think it's also like a fair, like you also have at some point, like when we make those like anchoring action, right? The GM also has to it's a license for you to skip time, right? Now you can say like, oh, the fire picked up, the clothes are drying, right? Because we clearly indicated that we're spending some time here, right? So you can like fast forward the time, right? We all busy doing something.
When Red Bastard said like start talking about elves, how did you feel? Because I was not even there. I was trying to think like
You always
he's
talk about
skeptical that.
elves.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, it's a tree. Like, of course, it's elves,
Yeah.
But I remembered your video about keep adding stuff, even though I was not a GM. But I
So like you talked about elf before, right? Like it's something like Red Bastard is always he's always blaming elf for something. Like even though like we haven't seen elf, like in a
never
while.
seen one.
It's always like, oh, there must be elf. Like that's, I don't know.
Those
It felt like very
tree-hugging
in
bastard.
character.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, you
Um,
said that, Kevin?
I said those tree-hugging bastards.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think it's a trade of works. We're like, oh, I think it's an elf. Oh yeah, you're right, it's an elf. And then another one, yeah, it's elves. We're looking for elves now. That's a pretty fun, like, because it depicts them as being impulsive, right? And I like that. A human wouldn't be like that.
Exactly.
Speaking of the changing gears from hunting the Hydra to hunting the humans, I didn't like interject with it, but I was definitely expecting Chicken Bones and Greenhorn to like have more to say about that. I was expecting Greenhorn especially to be like, dude, like
What the fuck?
I
Like,
signed
yeah,
up.
why?
Like, you were
You made me leave you home.
and now like
Chicken
I'm not-
Bones
Came all
tried,
this
like,
way.
Chicken Bone tried in character to dissuade them from going
Yeah.
aside like twice. It even became like a point of contention between the party, right?
Exactly.
I guess
At some,
I was
I
expecting
mean,
more
I was
from
thinking
Greenhorn.
about the hierarchy, right, of Greenhorn and Corn Pup, and he did confront Red Bastard about the child. So I'm thinking about what would he do, and when Corn Pup says we're hunting humans now, he's like almost rationalizing to himself, yeah, it's better to have one hunt instead of like coming back empty-handed,
Yeah.
like sick, like completely drenched from the rain.
Yeah. And also like the Chicken Bone, like kind of like trying to bring the contention that would almost like solidify the idea in Corn Pop's head that now like, oh, like this guy doesn't want us like that. Now we're definitely doing that.
Because they want to test my character, yeah.
It's just a spider.
Yeah, spied and testing the character, and and we talked we had this conversation with Red Bastard as well about like, well, we'll see what side you fall on. Like, let's test him, right? Just,
did anyone catch the retcon that happened at the very beginning? There was actually two.
Yes,
I did.
There were two that happened at the very beginning.
Oh,
which ones?
Because
maybe
last game we stopped. Like I woke up Omelette and he went outside the tent with me, and then I got struck, and then I was like,
But then I got teleported back to the bed.
Yeah, that's I forgot that you were already out. Sorry.
And the other one that happened was
guys, I literally asked you guys, so you want to talk about what happened last session before you start, and
Yeah,
You
we
all
probably should
said,
next
like,
time.
nah, we don't need
And I just no, I just fucking rewatched the session, but I just like in the heat of the moment, like that could have been like
There's a
solved
lot.
with when because I just said like I look at where like Omelette is sleeping, and it's just
Yeah.
not there, right? So it's not a
Yeah.
big retcon in that sense, right? It's just like you don't have to be teleported there. I can just say like
Mm.
the place is empty.
Yeah,
Like
you
I
know,
just woke up. Like in the last session, I didn't get up yet, right? Just like
Right.
just in the way the GM can 4D a contrivance to stop
Yeah.
a co-creation, I think another player should be able to. Yeah, so I think
but it's also
Omelette.
like when it's something that sorry, finish your thought, Conway.
Yes, so I think Yekrop could have said Omelette is not there. Just that
Yeah.
alone would have killed it, right?
I'm not
because
there.
that's something that is prevailing to your character. It's like when a rat bastard were saying like, "Oh, go to look at the potion on Omelette," right? And then like Yekrep, Calvin, you took over the narration, like, "Oh, it's there," right? Like you almost like kind of fitting
Gave
the
him
role of the
permission
GM there,
almost.
like doing the narration because it's prevailing to your character. You know what a potion is, right? So I think in that case, the same thing is fair, right? I can wake up and say like, I look at the bottom of the bed where Omelette is sleeping. Could just say like, and the place is empty, right? And just like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
and I got it.
Maybe
What was
it's
the second
also
retcon?
yeah.
Oh, the
let's go.
second one. I was like kneeling down and inspecting one of the twig blights, and you came over. You came over, and I like pulled the dagger out and handed it to you, and then
I
on your
did
turn,
not hear that.
on your turn,
did
you're like,
not hear that.
I step on the twig blight and yank my dagger out.
Yeah.
I'm
Dude,
like,
I have no recollection of you saying those words. Like it didn't happen.
it
Didn't
happened.
happen in my world. That never happened.
I
Mandela
almost
effect
have
in
to
real
go
time.
back. Did you guys hear that? I don't remember you saying that. But now it's 2 hours ago, so no,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, on the rewatch, you'll catch those and say, oh man, yeah. Sometimes it happens, right? Sometimes like you miss something or you're distracted for a second, right? It's like you try
Yeah.
not to, but
You think
nobody-
about your turn while another player takes their turn and you miss it
Yeah.
because
No,
you're
it's
trying
really
to
tough.
do two things at the same time.
2 hours, it's bound to have a little inconsistency here and there in 2 hours. It's just the way it goes. I think the best thing you can do is just roll along with the punches and keep the
Yeah.
experience going.
I'll be curious to in the rewatch. I want to see if how well we did on the fast combat.
Mhm.
I think we
Oh,
It
yeah.
felt faster, I would say, than last time.
You think so? The first combat was pretty
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, that's true.
I like in the first combat, like I like in the first combat where like the one thing I like is like I take like fucking 3 turns just to before I do any fucking thing, right? Just- and same with
Fight
Chicken Bone, like,
me!
yeah,
Good.
but even like just like fucking I wake up and I grab my sword and then I just like just stepping out of the hut, right? But
I actually like that. I appreciate that. I think it's more realistic.
Yeah.
And not to make a dig at anybody, but if I was like fully inside my sleeping bag, well, I think you kind of made it seem like, oh, you're just kind of struggling to get out of your sleeping bag, and you're like, oh, I don't have my armor on. So that was
yeah,
that was
Chicken
good,
Bone
but
did it well as well. Chicken Bone also like took some time just to
Yeah.
I'm just waiting.
I think I skipped like 2 or 3 turns in that first scene. Yeah.
You and Rat Bastard like were already like Omelette and Rat Bastard were already in the fight, right? But like we were waking up, so we just like we had
Yeah,
still
I got
this
really
time.
close to dying there. Like I had 4 HP left. Like I could have been down.
was
I
that a
need to,
crit on last game? Like, what was it?
record my
No, it
HP.
was just a good damage. I just have not that much, and it was like
Oh,
5 or something. That's enough. Like that's
It was,
nearly
yeah,
half.
it was
of my-
exactly. It was a porcupine. Then he got attacked by a bush out of nowhere. Like, why would the bush attack me?
What's happening? Why
Wow.
everybody hates me? What have I ever done?
Don't worry,
world
buddy. I
is
got
so
a potion
cruel.
with your name on it.
You know.
This is why you live in the Badlands and not in the forest.
As you lay dying, I'll be like, Don't worry, man.
Oh,
I got
I
you.
was dreaming. I was dreaming of that. You know, I thought if I'm about to die, if that happens, it's like that would be great. You know,
You're gonna be like,
ironic. Yeah.
You'll try to spit it out. No, potion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was half expecting that.
Also, obligatory piss scene during the session.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
we didn't miss
we-
the
We,
pissing.
we had 2 penises, I think. Yeah, we
Yeah,
doubled the
true.
quota.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
So we can keep
Greenhorn,
our,
get some pants on, you know.
we can keep our M rating.
exactly.
a
Yeah, it
mandatory
was-
minimum rating.
No, I like the
I
session.
would like to know. Yeah,
No, and I was saying
Red
I
Bastard.
like it. Yeah, okay, finished.
You
Yeah,
go ahead.
go
You go ahead. Okay, fine. I take it now. Red Bastard. At some point, I just described you like alien dragging a human away as you death blow into the fog.
Yeah.
Was that too much? Was I like painting your? Was I moving you?
No, because I said what I was doing, and you just like continued. You know, because I said I started dragging him, and you just said like he, gets dragged into the mist. Like like you said, Predator or whatever was the name of the movie.
Yeah,
So
I
it
feel
was
like I
okay.
was definitely like, okay, let me just make you sound cool. But I can see that being like,
Mhm.
oh, Chiabi, you're doing that thing again where you have to re-narrate everything I'm doing.
No, but you did not narrate. You just continued it. I do have to say though, like, because twice I tried to just give a debilitating strike to let the other guys finish, but then like death blow, like, oh, I guess he takes over by bloodlust and starts.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to get like stabbed in the calf and like die. So like,
You hit
like,
the femoral artery, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
I-
video game logic,
The same thing
We were
happened
fighting Achilles.
when I was a dire wolf and I bit into. It was like one of our first games. I think it was our first game. I bit into
Yeah, the bandits,
the
the
human's
two
leg,
hunters.
and it was a death blow, and I was like,
rip it
okay.
apart.
I ragged all his ass.
Yeah.
And then I just decided, you know what, Red Bastard, if he kills someone, he gets into like bloodlust and goes berserk for some reason, I guess that's a new trait.
So your
And-
character resolution
super cool.
increased as you play them as well.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Do you think
Yeah.
that we could have done the Battle Master maneuver better? Because I tried as much as possible to make myself sound menacing, and I think it didn't go through until in the very end. I said I use a menacing attack, right?
You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't even aware of what class you were playing until you said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Sure.
good that's a good character there.
Yeah.
Not defined,
But those fucking like their art to especially because like you have to communicate. Like I have like some stuff, right? Like I have like a Colossus Slayer, for example, right? Where I can add
Yeah.
a D8 to somebody that already has is damage. That's something I can use. I don't really have to communicate. Sometimes like I don't know if you notice at some
Right.
point like I roll a D8 more, right? Just like just
Mhm.
something like that's how I decide to. But like there's some class feature that are designed in a way that they're so hard to communicate for somebody else that like, oh, you have to
Yeah.
know that you have to do that now, right? It's like same thing with spell, right? It's a spell that you cast a spell, but you have to communicate the other guy that doesn't
Yeah.
know all the spell, doesn't know all
The healing spell. I forgot how it worked. I just gave myself like I think 3 or 4 points back because I didn't remember. Like this is not too much. This is not too little.
It's
the
10,
berry. Yeah,
10
it's 10.
healing. 10 points of healing if you ate all of them.
But you ate half of them.
Yeah.
Fucking rub half of them.
Yeah, so I guess 4 was fine. 'Cause I didn't remember how to use it, so like Red doesn't remember either. So like it's habits.
Yeah, this is
know.
why you need a universal system, right? With universal rules, not
Yeah,
section based.
It helps.
Yeah, I think we even did that thing of like, oh, a handful of berries. But I know, wait, it's 10 berries, and each berry is a hit point. How is he going to know how many berries he should heal? How is it gonna
Yeah.
heal from this? It's gonna
I
mess it
feel-
up, but
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Like, okay.
I like the Yeah, I like the dynamics that is developing between the character. Like I feel like there's a lot of like fuel for next thing to come up, right?
Chicken Bones
Yeah.
edition was a good one.
Yeah.
Because it highlights the monstrous characteristics of the other characters in a way that I think it wasn't so much before, because everybody was kind of doing this thing. But then it's such a contrast whenever Chicken Bones does anything.
I think we're nailing the monstrous kind of nature of the character.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Do you think like are we monstrous enough? Or are we just playing like human green scheme?
I'm making a conscious effort that there are different orcs that have different perspectives. So
I think I'm doing a good job, man. I think I'm.
but
I
there's
think I'm
only
great
there's only
at
one
doing
orc NPC to interact with now, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I know like what he believes.
I like the dynamic with Omelette. I think Omelette saw my character with a symbol of a human god in his neck, and I should have described it better. I just didn't want to assume like God existed, right? Like a silver like hammer for Thor or whatever. But I think that's cool because Omelette seems to be more of the esoteric member of the party too, with like, you know, getting visions and things like that. It'd be really cool if it ever comes up. And one of the really funny scenarios was when we were talking about Omelette breeding, and it's really funny like seeing Yekrep trying to depict a emotionless lizard thinking about getting it on, you know.
Certified frog stare, you know, like
Omelette's a total clueless virgin, I guess. I mean,
Yeah, well,
look, if you find another lizard, like the instincts will
instinct
kick in.
will kick in, man. You smell the pheromone. Next thing you
Like,
know, we have eggs.
like a
The
dog
need to
humping the air.
procreate.
Doesn't
Yeah,
understand
it's
what he's
primal.
doing. What a vision.
Omelette, stop that! That's our food.
Cut it
Like
out.
what?
Stop.
Red, get the water spray. The water
Ugh.
no, but that's the thing. Like, I think like Calvin is nailing it about like this, you know, having the alienness of this like lizard kind of guy, right? Just like, and
raised by wolves.
Joke's on you guys. I actually was raised by wolves and have a lizard brain in real life.
oh, there you go. That explains.
You're not
a lot.
role playing then.
Exactly.
Neither is corn, to be fair.
Touche.
I really want to know what you guys think about the way I role play humans, because I mean we are not in the civilization, and even amongst humans, there's like supposed to be a bunch of different cultures, blah blah blah.
They seem to be very low civilization.
Yeah, I had the impression they were like a bandit camp, you know, that broken off. Because why are they living such squalid?
No, because they had like a
this
snow
part,
dagger, right?
Yeah, that's true. That made me think like they're definitely like bandits, but I don't think Rat would gather that, you know.
Yeah, the way that they're footprints with no shoes.
Yeah,
But the first guy you
hunter-gatherers.
meet, he wears moccasins, so like, you know, like leather, like shaped in a way to like cover his feet. But it's not like real shoes, you know, like hammered out and everything.
Well,
So
those come
leather
much
stuff.
later.
Yeah.
That was cool. I think that we got a lot of description about the humans that stood and fought, and not enough description for the humans that ran away. So I think that might have like changed. But in my head, I was envisioning most of them running away, right?
Yeah,
Which I think is
I
a good
imagine them
description.
most as silhouettes in the fog, anyway. You know,
Yeah.
That's how I was imagining.
Yeah,
Also,
and
like,
the few that stood were probably like the adult males that had like children, most likely.
I'm not sure also like how many building there is exactly. Like, was it like 2 like kind of long house, or was it like more than that? Like that I didn't get really. But also like
Yeah, we
canonically,
never.
canonically,
thought there was a wall.
Carn Pop cannot count, so cannot count that.
Yeah, I kept it super vague, but like as part of, I wanted the fog to be a main obstacle. Like if you want more information, you kind of
I'll
have
tell you
to
what,
go in there, figure it out. Like, hey, red bastard, like we don't see shit. Can you like count for us and come back? Something like that. But I liked it. You guys were like, nah, fuck this shit. Set this building on fire, kill everything that comes in our way.
I do think that I find it quite funny that, you know, Silent Hill is famous for having the fog, so no, the PS1 wouldn't have to render it all. same thing with the GM, right? Because I have the fog. You don't have to render it as much. And I thought that was like, man, this is such like a funny analog. But it worked out. It worked out perfectly.
Zonalar has secretly switched us into playing the Curse of Strahd campaign.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. we don't know yet. Yeah.
Big Blights.
No, now
We
new
just
things
uploaded-
popping up. God damn it. There's elves too.
A bunch of orcs.
Hold on, let me
Goblins, shit like
write down
in
some.
in
Yeah,
Raven
let
Love.
me just write down some notes that are completely unrelated to that comment right now. Curse of Strahd campaign.
Or Citadel of the
Radiant Citadel.
no, not the no, God no.
Playing Radiant Citadel, I fucking quit.
We are going to fix it. We're going to
Oh,
fix it.
it's from the Tales of the Yawning Portal. It's like the
Baldur's-
Oh. Yeah, I forgot.
The Sunless Citadel?
Sunlit Citadel.
I mean-
Thank you.
Okay.
I was thinking Sunken, but
The
I knew it
Sunless.
wasn't
Right. Yeah, that one's got
Yeah, that's
Blights in it as well.
true.
And we
I
also
like
might have
the-
find I don't know, there's the human mage there too, right? That's interesting.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Druid.
But we didn't really
Yeah.
like, see it, unfortunately. We could only really hear like Rat Bastard like screaming in the woods.
That's the thing.
Yes, he
Like
does.
I was having like Schrodinger's humans in like the first combat turn of like, oh, how many are gonna fight you guys? And I'm like, man, I have to figure this out now, or
Yeah.
I'm just gonna like DM fiat more and more humans until you guys.
It's
die.
like Age of
kinda-
Empires, you know, like the guys spamming to build more armies. They keep coming out
Out of the barracks.
Well, yeah, gotta destroy the
So-
barracks, man.
So after you guys fought the kid, like missed the attack and the water thing broke, I like was like, okay, this is what I imagine what should be, what makes sense, and wrote down a number of fighters that can join the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was and then calling out like get the children out, get the women out, which was really cool. Like Chicken Bones leaning into that.
Mhm.
So like, oh, okay, gonna
Everybody was
change
so.
the fight a little bit.
Everybody was so. It's funny because I think that everybody was so focused on the battle that nobody even noticed that he was speaking, not
Oh, I
orcish.
noticed. I noticed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Man. Red was like scanning the battlefield far away, so he wouldn't have caught that.
Oh no, there's something. Yeah.
Also, I really like how slow you guys start fights, because that's a thing that D&D has a big problem with. We roll
Escalation.
initiative, and now that we rolled initiative, I will fucking kill anything in my way, because
That's what you do.
action. It's the action economy
I
is so
tried
important
so
in
many
surviving
times.
fights.
Tried so many times to prevent deaths. I tried to intimidate the human leader. Try to grapple the other guy. Tried so many times, but I just couldn't do it. The system is not designed for that.
This is a guerrilla strike, man. There's no.
And that's something also I talked about in the past, right? About like don't try to do like the optimal, like most damage per round turn every fucking round, right? Sometimes it's good. It's okay to do
Yeah.
that sometimes, like you want to be efficient and stuff like that, but like also like take some times to add some flavor to something. Like, I tried to do that with Karn, right? Just like he's a bit cocky when it comes to a fight, right? He's like he enjoy the fucking violence, right? And you want to take his time to seep it in, right? So that's also why like sometimes I'm just gonna take my time. And
It's super cool.
well, I'm glad if you appreciate it. So in 2 weeks,
In Fortnite.
Yeah,
in
that's the
Fortnite?
question. 2 weeks, another
Yeah.
game, another session. Like, do you guys want
coming
to
in again?
end? Like,
Oh, yeah.
when do you want to end? Or are we just enjoying the ride for now?
at some point, he's gonna write some conclusion, I guess. But for now, like,
Okay.
What at least to the Hydra and like
Someone will die
orc
eventually as
politics
well.
and the goblin politics.
sorry, what?
Yeah.
I want to at least see the Hydra and like the orc politics and goblin politics.
Well, you might
Yeah.
not get.
Maybe we'll just all die.
You might not make it there.
Look, maybe I
see,
just throw in like 5 more hooks next session for you to follow
Yeah.
for like 20 episodes.
No,
Why can't I
Barovia is
hold
real,
all
boys.
these-
But not
Oh,
like
you
this.
thought this was about.
Now there's a lot of unresolved tension that I want to explore too, right? Just like
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I need to have a kid. Apparently.
yeah. Well, yeah, we need to see the lizard breeding program.
Exactly. Repopulation program.
We're gonna have a. That's actually Corn Pop's. His end game is to have an army of lizard
Excellent.
shaman druids.
Vomalites.
Maybe we can hybrid like lizard hydra. Lizardman hydra.
Well, I guess you guys have to establish like how many trade relations the orc tribe has, because as it sounds like it's like 0 as
Yeah.
of now.
Yeah. Because they find an intelligent being and it becomes a dead intelligent being, you know?
Yeah.
So,
It's a dead being. Okay, 2 weeks
All right.
from now,
2
another
weeks
game.
from now.
2 weeks.
Yes,
Alright.
that should work because I am gone for like a wedding, but that is later,
Mhm.
so it's not in the way of our sessions,
Okay.
so we can play.
Okay.
And
So
just
in-
as a reminder, we could shift to the left or the
Yeah.
right one day if something comes up.
Yeah, but like if it comes, like we look with time and stuff like that, like for the wedding, shit like that. But like it's for now, it could be like the 24th.
Yes.
That's good. All right.
Okay.
Well, I'll end the stream now, and I'll see you then. And thank you for everybody that watch live, people that watch on the replay. Let us know what you think, right? Just like that's it. Check out those guys, Captain Conway, Nicholas, Zonalar, and Yakrep. Nicholas, your channel is Etera RPG.
Yeah. I'm back at making videos. There might be
so
a new one today. So
yeah, I saw one yesterday about like who I am and what do I do, right?
it's more like just why I haven't posted anything in 7 months. Quick update.
All right.
Nice.
But yeah.
All right.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.